Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Today I want to discuss with you 9 vegetable crops that would be great additions to your pantry. We are at my pantry today looking at a few different items that I think could be really beneficial for you moving forward. We've talked a lot about garden planning. We've also looked a lot at being able to use from your pantry and have things available in order to get you through the fall and winter season. We also have discussed the need to set some things aside if we can in order to reduce some of our food costs and try to save and hedge against inflation as we've come into this time where food prices really are soaring. I wanted to share with you 9 vegetable crops that are fairly easy to grow and that would be great additions to your extended pantry, either through canning and setting the food aside that way, or also just by having it available in your long-term storage. If you are a brand new gardener, sometimes it's hard to know where to start. And if you're new to gardening enough so that you have something to set aside and put away, sometimes it's hard to know which crops are going to be the most versatile so that you'll have something to draw upon and use from in the fall and winter. And if you stay tuned to the end, I will tell you about one crop that I wish I could grow, but I haven't figured out yet how to make that happen, and maybe you'll have some ideas for me. I would love to hear from you. These are in no particular order. The first vegetable is cucumbers. Cucumbers are great for fresh eating, of course, but if we want to look at putting some things away in long-term storage, it's great to be able to make some home canned pickles. These are wonderful additions to kind of get some of that dill spicy flavor throughout the course of the fall and winter. So I love just a plain dill pickle. I also really enjoy bread and butter pickles. These are a little bit sweeter in flavor. These work great for making homemade tartar sauce and just adding a different kind of taste to your meals. In addition, you might also get into doing some fermenting, which is something that I was playing around with last year, and I did some fermented bread and butter pickles, which are so good. You won't really want to can them, but then you will want to can them because the canned pickles are gonna last longer. But yeah, I would highly recommend trying some ferments as well. The second vegetable crop I think you should grow would be beans. Both green beans and some sort of dry shelling bean. So when it comes to green beans, they're fairly easy to grow. It makes for some great canned green beans. You don't have to do really anything special to go ahead and prepare these for canning. If you like a little bit of variety and you have a lot of green beans, you could also try some dilly beans. Again, another way to just add a different flavor. These are great for snacking and just a little bit of extra crunch throughout the course of the fall and winter. When it comes to dried beans, there isn't a lot involved as far as growing the bean themselves. And then after you have harvested your beans, of course, you're gonna have to go through the shelling process and then figure out your best way for storing. So you can either decide to store these in some type of a container like this. This is the set that I would use on more of a regular basis. These are cranberry beans, which are just very versatile. You can use them for soups. You could use them for a refried bean, put them in chili. It's just a very good all-around versatile bean. They're a little bit meatier than some of the others, and they really hold their texture when you're cooking them. So you're not going to end up with that mush that sometimes you can get from, say, a lima bean or something like that. The other kinds of beans that I really enjoy, and I don't happen to have a jar on hand here, but that would be black beans. Sometimes black beans are great for like a taco salad or any type of salad, a Cobb salad, whatever it is that you're putting together that way, it can just be a nice addition. I've also used black beans for different kinds of chili and, you know, a wide variety of meals as well. The third vegetable that I would recommend growing would be peppers. Now, these can be a little bit finickier, and so if you can't get them the first year, it might be something that you want to incorporate a little later in your growing journey. Mostly, the biggest issue that I've run into with peppers is a timing situation. Because we're in a little cooler climate here, grow zone 8A, and also due to the fact that we have less daylight during certain parts of the year, it does make it a little bit trickier to try and get peppers to maturity. So that is something that will have to be started indoors, and you want to really get a jump on your pepper growing season. If you are newer to gardening and you haven't tried this out yet, it might be best to go ahead and buy some transplants and add that to your garden just to kind of get you started and to have that jump start so that you can get your peppers to maturity. The reason why peppers are nice for your pantry and your long-term storage is, one, you could go ahead and can some diced peppers. You could dehydrate some diced peppers so that you have something to add to your soups or any of your meals during the fall and winter. You could also freeze peppers. They're, again, a great way to add to stir fries and things like that as well. Additionally, peppers are wonderful to have in combination with some other things, and we'll share that in just a little bit. The next item I have on this list is tomatoes. As you can kind of see behind me, I have quite a few tomato products. If you've watched any of my videos before, you know that Salsa and I are best friends. This is where bringing in those peppers, onions, garlic, tomatoes, you can make your salsa and have that on hand. Last year I canned just some regular tomato sauce, which gives you a lot of versatility. You could change this into a spaghetti sauce, a pizza sauce. You could use it for a wide variety of things. You could also make a chili sauce, which makes for a great dump and go kind of meal. If you have some canned beans, like your black beans, or some canned cranberry beans, you could just add your canned beans to a crock pot with some of your chili sauce, and it makes for a really easy weeknight meal when maybe you haven't planned something else. You could also opt to go ahead and just can some spaghetti sauce straight up, if that's something that you want to have available without too much fuss. A lot of versatility when it comes to tomatoes. You also might want to just go ahead and can some whole tomatoes. This works great in your stews. You could add whole tomatoes in with your spaghetti, make sauce out of the whole tomatoes, that works as well. So just a lot of options if you have tomatoes on hand. The type of tomato that you grow will be determined by your end product. So because I use my tomatoes mainly for sauces or for salsa, I like to have more of your Roma style tomato. Amish paste has been really a wonderful variety that we've used for a lot of years. Or you can use a sauce tomato as well. I've used Stupas or Novas. Both of those have been great additions to my tomato products. For the whole tomatoes, I've actually taken some of the cherry tomatoes and canned those up for my whole tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes are a little bit smaller, and sometimes the plants are producing so prolifically that you can't quite keep up with the production. And that's where canning the whole tomatoes is kind of a nice way to use up some of that excess tomato crop. The next items on my list are items that can be used for both long-term storage or also for canning as well. Onions are a great addition to your extended pantry. You can store them fairly well throughout the course of the winter if you have a good variety for storage. You can also add those to your canned items like your salsa, and I've used them in my chili sauce. You could put them in your spaghetti sauce. A lot of canned items that you could go ahead and add your onions to as well. Garlic is another fairly easy garden crop to grow. You can get that ready to go in the ground in the fall, and then you basically just kind of let things go until maturity. And unless you're having some type of drought type condition, for the most part, we haven't had much difficulty with the garlic going ahead and coming to maturity here. Again, you're gonna wanna look for some varieties that might be better for longer term storage. Some varieties are better for fresh use, and some varieties are better for keeping throughout the course. And you might want a combination of both types. And then you can use your garlic for canning as well. So adding some into the salsa, your sauces, a lot of your other products that you're making. Onions can go in your bread and butter pickles. Same thing with garlic, using it in your dilly beans or in your pickles. So a lot of versatility there in both of those items as well. Other crops that are very helpful for extending out your pantry and keeping fresh food throughout the course of your fall and winter season. Carrots are a great addition to a pantry. You can can them, again, to add to stews, or you can go ahead and store those in a cool place to extend through your fall and winter. Additionally, potatoes are another great crop to be able to store for a little bit longer. You can keep those in a dark, cool place as well to have fresh potatoes throughout the course of your fall and winter. You can also can those to have some available for maybe a hash browns, or again to add to a stew or something like that as well. The last item would be winter squash. The delicata squash was probably one of my favorite from last year, just because you don't have to peel it. You can use the entire thing, and it roasted really nicely. You can saute it, and it has wonderful flavor. So I really enjoyed working with that a little bit more, and it held up pretty well through the course of the winter. There are other varieties, of course, that you can grow as well. If you're into acorn squash or some types of butternut squash, store really well. So just see what kind of flavor profiles you like and how to do it. Those are 9 vegetable crops that I think can be great additions to your pantry. You can use those for both canning and just to put into a longer term storage so that you can have some fresh product throughout the fall and winter. I hope you will consider growing some of these if you haven't already been growing these in your garden. Now, the part you've been waiting for. So the one crop that I wish I could grow, because it would definitely be my #1 staple, is coffee. I love coffee a lot, and I wish that I could grow my own coffee and roast my own. Living in Grow Zone 8A, I have not yet figured out how I could attempt to grow coffee on the farm. If you live in a grow zone similar to mine and you have had success with coffee, tell me in the comments down below how you've made that happen, because it is something that I really want to try, but then every time I start researching it, it looks like something that is just not practical for the homestead. I hope today's video was helpful to you. If you are growing a garden this year and looking to add to your extended pantry, consider some of these vegetable crops that can really be beneficial for you. If today's video was helpful, don't forget to like, and we would love to have you subscribe and be part of our community here at Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Until next time, bye everyone.